An evangelical influencer has gotten a lot of heat because of the fact that she's been incredibly outspoken against Donald Trump, and she fairly recently said that she was supportive of same-sex marriage. Now, evangelicals didn't take kindly to that, and while some still like to follow her and follow the work that she does, a lot of people started sending her death threats and sent her books back to her home address and started threatening her. Her name is Jen Hatmaker, and recently Politico did an excellent profile about her and what she went through in 2016 when she decided to break away from conventional evangelicals and speak out against Donald Trump. Hatmaker effectively joined Never Trump evangelicals, telling her more than 500,000 Facebook followers that Donald Trump made her, quote, sad and horrified and despondent.
Damn.
Drums.
Okay, so it's actually not that much of drums, or it shouldn't be, right? So she's saying something, I would argue, really inoffensive. Like when Donald Trump talks about grabbing women by the genitals without their permission, you would think that good Christians would be opposed to that concept.
Right.
I mean, the fact that that's even controversial is amazing. Like, and they make it seem like she's the bad Christian because she was horrified at the thought of a guy who might be most powerful man in the country, arguably in the world, who brags about sexual assault of women.
Yeah.
Like that would appear to be the immoral thing, and she would be standing up for morality. But evangelicals, according to polling, are the one demographic group in the country that cares about morality the least. She didn't realize that.
It's pretty incredible. So I loved reading about her because not only did I learn about her, I didn't even know she existed prior to Politico profiling her, but I learned a lot about myself because on election night, I was really harsh toward female Trump supporters, right? And I called them stupid, I said I don't respect them. And then, I took a step back and I'm like, is that the right way to handle a situation where you disagree with people? And then I realized, wait a minute,
Yes.
it's not, no, wait. It's not because I disagree with their political ideology. In this case, Jen Hatmaker and I are very different. She's still very Christian, does not, agree with me when it comes to issues like reproductive rights, things that really matter to me. But it doesn't matter. I don't dislike her because she's a person who's principled and she's a person who understands, if I'm gonna go around preaching about morality, I can't be supportive of someone who openly brags about assaulting women. And so for me, it was about what Donald Trump represented. It wasn't a political ideology. It was the fact that he disrespected women, openly talked about, his disdain for certain types of women. And that's what really befuddled me, I guess, when it came to some of his supporters.
And let's just note that it's not just the Access Hollywood tapes. I mean, he did 1,000 times about, saying that women that claim that he sexually harassed them, that they wouldn't be good looking enough to be worthy of his gropes, basically.
Yep.
Oh, he's such a monster. He, the Miss Universe contestant that he belittled by calling her Miss Piggy and Miss House Cleaning because she was a Latina. He's such a bad guy. And when he talked about Megyn Kelly bleeding from wherever.
Yep.
And so if you're a self-respecting woman and you know this guy is deeply misogynistic, at a bare minimum, maybe if not stupid, certainly ignorant to vote for him. And so anyway, when Jen Hatmaker made the moral case against Donald Trump, that's what really got under the other evangelicals' skin, because she was basically putting up a mirror to them and showing them who they really are.
It's incredible. So let's hear from Jen Hatmaker herself. Here are some of her quotes. After the Access Hollywood tape leaked and prominent evangelical men came to Trump's defense, she tweeted, "We will not forget, nor will we forget the Christian leaders that betrayed their sisters in Christ for power. The way people spoke about us, it was as if I had never loved Jesus a day in my life and I was just an ally. Think about how our gay brothers and sisters feel." So
see, that's exactly why she, even though again, she's evangelical Christian, I don't agree with that at all, and I'm agnostic, etc. But she broke out of that circle of fear and hate, if you ask me, because she was able to empathize for a second.
yes, like that's the thing. Again, just because we disagree doesn't mean I'm automatically gonna disrespect or dislike her, right? We disagree on a lot of things, but I respect her because she's a woman of her convictions. She understands when something's wrong, it's wrong, and you need to speak out about it. And I respect her so much because she was advised over and over and over again by the evangelical community to not speak out, to not openly support same-sex marriage. And she's like, no, I'm not gonna hide who I am. In one of her quotes, she said, my insides need to match my outside.
And the threats weren't just, hey, this is a bad idea. Jesus would love sexual assault and would be a proponent of it and would brag about it and would support the guy who's bragging about it. It wasn't just absurdities like that. It was threatening her business.
Yeah.
And they're like, this isn't gonna work out for you. Look, the way we make money is by appealing to these guys, I would argue monsters. And so if you go out there and try to do the moral thing, you ain't gonna make a buck out of it. And well, they had some validity to that particular argument, because as Ana mentioned, not only did they send back the books to her, some of them had already burned the books or shredded some of the pages and then sent it back to her.
Right.
And then LifeWay Christian Stores pulled her books from the shelves and said, that'll show you, okay? So you love Jesus, you wanna sing his praises, you wanna do all these moral things, oh yeah? We're gonna undercut you, make sure you don't get any money because you wouldn't toe the political line that we have.
So this is my absolute favorite part about learning about her. So she gets the threats, and there were other evangelical leaders who also spoke out against Trump, and they got so much criticism and backlash that they essentially went on apology tours, right? Because it was hurting their business. But not Jen Hatmaker. In fact, Jen Hatmaker remained defiant because she's a principled person. And so while she's getting all this criticism and all this hate, she decides to let people know whether or not she'll ever apologize for what she's saying. This is what she posted on her Instagram page, and I absolutely love it. She's wearing a shirt that says, I ain't sorry. Yes, I love her so much. This is, again, I don't care if we disagree on things, just the fact that she's principled and she understands what real morality is makes me respect her to no end, so.
And then she said, this year I became painfully aware of the machine, the Christian machine. And they do, they have a political machine. And if you dare cross it, they'll strike back in many different ways. I think that one of the things that, look, I don't want to get too much into her personal life, and I don't know all the views that she held or holds now, but she has a couple of kids that she adopted from Ethiopia. So that, among, I'm sure, other things, made her sympathetic to civil rights for black people in this country. And then civil rights for LGBT members. Plus the other thing about the whole Jesus loving everybody and the Sermon on the Mount and do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, and what was supposed to be the Christian principles instead of fear and loathing towards anyone who doesn't look like you, which is not what Jesus said. And so to me, it is really interesting that the Christian, so-called Christian machine tries to crush anyone who's actually preaching Jesus' gospel. If you like this video, bless your heart. We got a lot more where that came from. We do a full show every day, Monday through Friday. Come enjoy it ad-free by becoming a member, tytnetwork.com/join.